threw you off filter for the rest of the round too. And that was evident in the extremely long 1A mark. There's no more time. So lesson for the round, like take one lesson all the time every speech. We'll observe that. Another major thing in this round was, we all are like right at the edge of being really good debaters. And the problem is that the line by line isn't being done. We're like reading off speech docs. 1AR makes a whole bunch of new arguments and framework. Like policy making good is not in the 2AC. There was a lot of 1AR time wasted on new cards in the framework that I'm not going to listen to or evaluate. A lot of time wasted on the verb K, line by line. Which, when you're going all in on theory, it's not necessary. And definitely, over-covering on the key flows, that's for sure. The neg, don't talk during the 2AR prep. That was really annoying. I know you're done with the round, but they're still prepping. No one's talking during the prep. And yeah, so what the issue I want to make about the line by line is that there are a lot of arguments in this debate that just don't get answered by the negative because of your, you read your work file in the 2LC, but then you never go back and do the line by line. The closest thing I get on the theory, the only thing I get out of the 2AC theory is the reason to reject the argument off the team and our critique is predictable, and therefore that takes out all their offense. I never get the answer to infinitely regressive, and that's the major claim that they're carrying through the entire round, is that if I have to stop and ask the question of, your ontology case says, stop, don't consider their policy option. Be the intellectual and consider whether or not we should be considering policy option. And then they're saying, look, that's infinitely regressive. Then you have to consider whether we should be here, in a round judging. That's the infinitely regressive argument.
You don't have to justify ontology for this one in particular, on the top of the
right, but see, then you're conceding the framework of that argument. They answer that too, saying, look, if that's the case, then we're able to weigh this third framework against the case. It's either one or the other. Either you get your ontology framework, or you have to not get your framework and weigh the critique property against the case. And in either case, even if I give you, okay, so the major issue though, all right, this is lower level stuff. The top level issue, when you can't access the debate in the first place, is they provide interpretation and tell me competing interpretations, and I don't get an interpretation from the negative, counter interpretation. Even if I go an extra mile and suppose that you use their interpretation, I'm going to evaluate the round, that I'm going to compare the offense versus the ontology. They're beating you enough on the case flow with the security stuff, because especially in the process, you were never able to pin down an answer to, look, what does it mean to, you have an apocalyptic rhetoric or nuclear war impact that you read. What makes this different from ours? What makes it? And you couldn't answer it, and the closest thing I got to a reasonable explanation was, well, if it's provable with the evidence, then it's not linked to the K. And they're basically, they're claiming the 2AR case argument and the 1AR is that, look, we have 3 conceded terrorist scenarios. This is the only evidence on these scenarios in the round. So no matter which way you slice it.
What about the slide 30 stuff?
That's the evidence, the data.
Yeah, the internal evidence.
Right. This was the data cooking part, right? So again, the explanation I get was, all right, it's data cooking. You guys come up and say it's not. You read the app reads the indictment, right? Yeah. You come up and say no. You read another piece of evidence, which she said he's publicly popular.
We also read a part that said he
250 studies, but that's belied by the data, sort of fun. So to more studies, if they're flawed methodology. I mean, this is analysis that the affirmative is making, but you guys want to make it. Right?
David, what about the achievement groups? Say that he doesn't have the caution, and the case out there, what about the?
I love those with the existence, extinction perceived ontology, existence perceived ontology. That's kind of a which comes first question. So again, this was another major issue. The order of this speech, most of the neg block and the also somewhere in this framework, like, maybe this is a good answer to Dylan. Yeah, I think it answers Dylan. So I'm sitting here putting the puzzle pieces in place of where I think these arguments ought to be. And it doesn't work out well for any of you if I'm the one making those decisions. Like, that's like active intervention. It's either that or not flow. And so you have to tell me exactly which one. You go to the line by line. You'll see this, like, I'm sure you're all going to stick around and either be in or watch some of the rounds. And you'll see how the file gets read, and then they pick up a piece of paper that they were flowing on and go line by line. I noticed flowing issues when all of you ask questions about, well, did you extend the firm? Did you do this? Like, I noticed that. And I know that camps nowadays, like, and a lot of policy-based coaches de-emphasize flowing. It's extremely important. You have to go line by line. You have to maintain some sort of order. Even to the point of, like, when the one entity, you tell me you're going to go to case, and we're going to answer it in the order of a different order than the advantages were presented, like, that means marginally more work for me. It's like, why start to complicate the round when the board is already complicated? Right? The first time you things should necessarily go out of order is the 2AC, key on top, stuff like that. Lunch shuffle. That was a wash because you didn't go for it. Like, no one extended it, but also it was that they really made it clear in the 1AR that, look, like, you claim an extinction scenario on birth. Like, this isn't even like multiple worlds, this is on the same flow. In the 2AR? Yeah. I also have it in the 1AR. I mean, this could be another, this, like I said, examples of flow issues. The other issue majorly on the counter plan, let's talk about this for a minute. The firm, I think you fundamentally, like, this was weird because you said the firm severs out of the immediacy of the plan. Yeah. I'm not sure what that meant because it was public-private partnerships kind of plan, so I don't know how it was done any later. Like,
no, because, like, it would be, like, the United States would do it with private investors. If they do both, that's something that you have to look for the private investors. I mean, like, because immediate, if it was just a plan, it would just get pushed through. But we could try to find a means that.
I see. Yeah. I don't think that was very well explained on calling severance. Because you just go right from it severs out of the immediacy of plan to the definition of should. Like, there needs to be what that sentence you just told me needs to be in there. And one of the ways I really think that, you should have approached the end of this round was to just go for the counter plan.
What would be our net benefit if they take this five?
No, there's just the reason being that the 1AR wasn't timed. They probably, like, the last thing she did was answer the firm. Like, this is definitely, like, you make a claim that this is definitely past time, and you shouldn't have floated it. Don't listen to it. In fact, I think there's a reasonable, like, I reasonably believe that the 1AR hit the 5-minute mark before getting to the counterclaim flow entirely. Right? And so, there's, in the future, if that ever happens, well, first of all, don't ever let that happen again. Yeah. But second, if it happens, come up and be like, look, you should have, and did, maybe stop flowing at the 5-minute mark, but they didn't answer the counterclaim the 1AR. You can't give them more speech time than they have.
So on the argument today, what about the argument that, like, their fairness and education things were rooted in, like, an ontological ideal that has no treating of what is fair to and what is so.
Well, remember, I've got to evaluate things in a certain order, and no one tells me what order to evaluate things, so I got to go to my default. Theoretical, procedurals at the top. Then
not an answer to theoretical. You're saying you like embed the way they think about fairness and education.
But you never tell me to evaluate things in this order. Like, when you say you give me voters at the end of the 2 hours, you don't tell me, like, all right, look, you have to evaluate ontology first. Right? Then, even before procedurals. Right? Yeah. But also, I mean, it's just the sheer lack of the counter-interpretation. That's first and foremost. Like, all these other things are things that could have been worked on, but without counter-interpretation, there's, like, no hope of me even trying.
Like, in the 1AR, for an R plan, like, I'm sure the probability is quite better. And in the 2AR, can you, even if you don't vote on the case, like, would you vote on the internal benefits?
I mean, yeah, index good. I mean, if you answer the index better, that's fine. But
like,
also,
but
you have other evidence.
How
like, don't engage on that level. They're like, look, they indict this offer. We've got a different offer. We've got a different study. full of different pieces of evidence out there.
Like,
The
how
more
do
you
I
engage in that,
answer that better?
Just say, well, first of all, like the indict, like, comes from a political science agenda, like, indict their source too, and just downplay the role of that whole scheme, just like regardless, we can at least come to the common ground that this is the case, right? That the data at least suggests this, like even if it's manipulated, it's not, like, if you grant that it's manipulated, it can't be manipulated to that extent. Like, there's other pieces of evidence too, and I think that's the strongest thing, that if your fact is true, if that free evidence is factually correct, then you will be able to find other pieces of evidence that verify it, right? That's one of the things that makes an indict so powerful, is that if you don't have any other piece of evidence that back it up, I'm willing to buy that the indict is the case. Yes.
Oh, you said on the tell you what order to evaluate things in, how would you want to see us doing that? Like, I know we said some stuff this.
No, you had done it. You said, look, they dropped the interpretation.
Oh, so that was enough?
Yeah, this comes first, like,
Okay.
I mean, what was it? You said, the case is only regressive, this paralyzed action on the ballot, they can run the same thing every year, this is the biggest.
Okay, so that was enough.
And
okay, I thought you were looking for something else.
No, if things go out of order, like, then, sometimes, but usually when you're going for tier theory, you have to say, theory comes first, your value is going to the substance.
Okay.
Agree on what the debate before we debate. All right, I think that's about it.
All right, cool, thank you. So your vote was?
I voted affirmative on theory. They were aware of that.
Yeah, they.
How did you do? Yeah, I'll pick that. Oh, sweet.